words that if you vocalize it, it's the same letters, but if you vocalize it differently, it has a different meaning. One of such words is the word chaf, beis, daled. Those are the three letters. And it could be vocalized as kaved or kavod. In one vocalization, these three letters mean the liver, L-I-V-E-R, the organ. In the other vocalization, and I'm sure you've heard this many times, let's give kavod, or in the Sephardic sense, let's give kavod, let's give honor to someone. So there's actually, again, the same letters, but one meaning of those letters is liver, another meaning is honor. Now, in our tradition, if the heart is seen as something warm, hot, the liver is the image of the liver in Talmudic thought is it is cold, it is insensitive. So if you have a warm heart, but you don't have a warm liver, you have a cold liver and a warm heart, and you're a healthy human being. Now, we know that when the Jewish people were still under the influence of the wicked Pharaoh, right, in Egypt, and we're going to be celebrating our Exodus in a week from now. So the expression is that Pharaoh's heart became hardened. The expression is kaved lev parei. It became hardened. But because it has the word kaved, the rabbis read into it that his heart became cold. What does that mean? Not that he had a heart attack, but it's the opposite of being sensitive. He became dull. He became insensitive. He became impervious. So here is God conveying his words through Moshe. There are miracles. There's also simple justice and righteous. By what right do you have to enslave people? They didn't do anything against you. And so from every angle, whether it be a moral, ethical, certainly spiritual and holy, this man's heart became not only hardened, that he became stubborn, but it became like a liver. It became cold. Okay, so keep in mind, now let me review the word. The word kaved means heavy. The word kaved means liver. The word kaved means honor. It all depends on the vocalization and it depends on the context. So when it says about when Hashem hardened the heart of Pharaoh, so he would not listen to the instructions and that Moshe was conveying, it means that his heart became cold as liver. Okay, now we can understand a very interesting statement. And again, this is a big psychological issue for people, maybe more by religious Jews than others, I don't know. And that is, people have an idea of the honor that they deserve. So they come to a place, for example, let's say they're invited to a wedding or to a lecture. They feel that they should be sitting in a very prominent place. Yiddish expression is "Eibenuf." They want to sit on the dais. They want to sit where everyone could see them. After all, they're very important. I'm a rabbi, I'm a scholar, I'm a wealthy man, I give a lot of money, I should be acknowledged by my place. And if, God forbid, you seat them not on the head table, but on table number 3, and the people sitting by their table are very nice, interesting, beautiful people, but of a lower economic strata or lower rabbinic strata, they get upset. You're not showing me honor. And this is something which is weird. because what difference does it make? And yet people respond very adversely to being put in a place which in their estimation is not showing them honor. So the Gemara has a very interesting statement. It's not the place that honors the person. It's the person that honors the place. So translating that in a very simple interpretation, if you're a very great person, again, whether it be in mind or in heart or in emotion or in finances, and you sit down, so wherever you sit, you bring glory to that place. And then suddenly all of the people that are sitting by the table or sitting in that area or in that section of the opera house say, oh, do you know who's sitting in this place? So-and-so. So it's not the place that gives you honor, it's you that brings honor to the place. And again, not to quiz you, but how do you say honor in Hebrew? Kavod, which also could mean liver, which is cold. So the Rebbe then, now we get to the Rebbe's thought. Everything I told you was just background. Now we get to the Rebbe's thought, and then I'll read it inside. When a person comes to a place, we learned this 2 days ago or 3 days ago. A chassid makes an environment, right? You remember we were speaking about a chassid as a lamplighter. He has to light, he has to bring warmth and illumination. So let's say you come to a place and you're fiery and enthusiastic, and over time, you cool off a little bit. So let's take an ideal situation. When you were in Israel or when you were in Brooklyn, you used to pray in a synagogue where there was a lot of singing, a lot of enthusiasm. There was no talking, no socializing. People came to pray, not to talk. And your davening, your morning davening took an hour from the beginning until the end. There was no rush. There was no cell phones, etc., etc. And you know, everyone can improve, but you basically started your day with prayer. Then you moved out of town, and people are in deadlines. For them, a good davening is 20 minutes. We start at 7. We got to get out of here by 7:30. That includes wrapping up the tefillin and the talis. So you come, you're all gung-ho about davening, you know, and after 2 weeks and 3 weeks, you're tired of davening alone. You're tired of trying to catch up. So you join the crowd. And then a year later, your rabbi visits you and he says, what happened to you? You used to daven like a mensch. And now you're davening like you're doing speed reading. What's going on with you? And he said, well, what should I do? The environment got to me. I got cold because everyone around me is cold. And the same thing is not about davening. It's about learning. You used to do a lot of studying, and you're in a place where people are more interested in discussing the stock market and Bitcoin. So what are you going to share with them an insight of Talmud or a Hasidic thought? So in the beginning you tried, and because everyone is indifferent, you cooled off. And we could go on and on and on with this. So who do we like to blame? We blame the environment. It's the environment that made us cold. But that's not really true. The environment has an effect on you, but it does not have to make you cold. You could warm up that environment. And that's what it means. It's not the place that gives you COVID. Remember? Sounds funny. COVID is the disease we're dealing with. But it's not the place that gives you honor. Or it's not the place that will make you cold like liver. No, it's a man should give honor to the place. A man should bring warmth and fight, oppose the coldness of the place. In addition to which is something very interesting about the concept of honor. You know, if I go to a wedding or an event, everyone gets a portion of food and I don't, then I have a practical demonstration of how not important I am in the eyes of the host. Now, it might be a legitimate mistake, but of course, I get highly insulted. I did not get a portion. But if a person doesn't stand up in your honor, what do they take away from you? And nothing. And yet that means everything to you. Oh, they got up, they showed me respect. Oh, I came, I sat down, and they continued the conversation. They didn't even acknowledge me. So what did they do to you? They didn't add, they didn't take away. And yet that is not true. We feel it very deeply. So honor, or what they call dignity, or showing respect, is not something internal, but it's a powerful external energy that you pick up on. And obviously, if it's extended properly, you actually not only feel very good, but you play the part. So maybe you eat with with more with better manners. Maybe you share a thought which is worthwhile to listen to. If they don't show you honor, then you're not motivated. If they show you, oh, the rabbi said that, oh, the teacher, oh, this is the teacher of my little girl, Shoshana, and then you want to act the part of a teacher, an educator. So it's kavod, showing honor, is very different than giving tea and cake. So it's called in the Hasidic terminology, makif. It's encompassing, it's surrounding, it's transcending. Okay, so with all of this introduction, let me read it. My grandfather commented on the saying that the place of man does not honor him, rather man honors his place. The term kavod, honor, has two implications. One is kaved, which means liver. And as the Torah says, Paro's heart is kaved, which means heavy. And the sages comment, his heart became like a liver. Pharaoh's heart was cold and insensitive. The other meaning is kavod, not kaved with a tsere, A, but with an O. It's not kaved, it's kavod, honor, signifying the revelation of a supernal encompassing illumination. So now let's read these two meanings of the word, of the letters Chaf, Beis, and Daled. Either kavod, honor, or kaved, liver. Kavod, honor, is a supernal encompassing illumination. Kaved means a coldness, an insensitivity like the liver. So now let's read it. The place of man does not honor him. It does not give him kaved. Place and circumstance do not make him cold and insensitive. No, rather man honors his place. Man has the capacity and the power to illuminate his environment with the light of Torah and Avodah. Now, in order to do that, you got to be really mighty and powerful. Believe me, it's a lot easier to press iron and develop 250 pounds you could pick up than it is to go into an environment, a society, even your own family, and to try to wake them up, try to warm them up in Yiddishkeit. Not easy. It's much easier doing push-ups. But so now this is how he concludes. When the soul descends into the body, it is actually given, it is administered an oath. They tell the soul, swear to us that you will be righteous. Now, in Hebrew, the word, and that's actually how the Holy Tanya begins, with this statement. Okay, again, I have to give a couple of minutes explanation. Why do people want a promise from you? I mean, will you come to my birthday party? Yes. That's not enough. Promise me. Will you be able to drive me to this and this place? Yes. No. Promise me. Okay, I promise. It's verbal. you already said yes, you already affirmed it. What? Why do people want to hear the word promise? And it's one of the most remarkable human characteristics, which we don't really understand, but it's just true. When you promise, though it's coming from the same person, same mind, same heart, same vocal cords, when you say, I promise, you're assuring the person that even if there will be obstacles, you'll overcome it. You see, if you say, yeah, I'll pick you up at 9 o'clock, okay? And then what happens is there's a rainstorm. So you call up the person, if you're a mensch, at 10 to 9, say, you know what, it's raining outside, I'm taking care of my health, so I won't be able to pick you up. I don't want to go out in the rain. Okay, so the person is disappointed. But what happens if the person responds, 1 second, you promised. Oh, okay, I'm coming. I'll be there in 10 minutes, maybe a minute late. You understand? When you said you would pick them up, you meant considering everything being ordinary, then I will keep my word. Promise means even if there's extraordinary, I will do it anyway. So, the kid that says to the father, will you come to my birthday party, right? Or to the play? And he says yes. There's an unwritten rule. Yes, providing I don't have a deadline. Yes, providing I remember, yes, providing I'm in the mood. Promise means even if I have a deadline, I will tell the boss, I gotta go. I promised my kid. So now we go back. Every soul is holy. Every soul is a part of God. Every soul wants to do its job. But before the soul is actually put into the body, before it's sent down on its journey, the heavenly court makes it swear. They say to the soul, swear you'll be good. Swear you'll do your job. Swear to us. Take an oath. And of course, the soul does it. Why? Because the soul has no idea. Soul, referring to neshama, has no idea of how difficult it is to change a physical body. I ask you, what are your chances of changing the world? When I say the world, I don't mean San Francisco, Bay Area, California, United States. I'm talking about Zambia. I'm talking about Amazon rainforests. I'm talking about outer space. What are your chances of actually changing that? And rightfully, you would say 0. What are you talking about? There's only X amount of geniuses in this world, and I'm not one of them. And of those X amount of geniuses, very few of them actually come up with something which is beneficial. And with all of those geniuses that are beneficial, how many of them are actually going to be able to do something that will profit everyone? So now imagine a soul. A soul has this power of God, but it's now independent in a sense. And the neshama is told, you're going to have to change the world in a body. The world I'm referring to is your own body. The neshama says, of course I'll do it. Then when it's put into the body, it realizes that 150 pounds is more than it could bear. So it then remembers, 1 second, I promised that I would do what I was created for. I promise that even if I talk to this human being, Jewish man, Jewish woman, and I tell them that they have to get up and they have to clean the house for Pesach, and the body says, leave me alone. I am tired. I am busy. I promised. So that promise gives strength. So now we'll read it inside. When the soul descends into the body, it is administered an oath to righteous. This oath, in Hebrew, shavua, also has the word sova, satiety. That means every person is generously endowed with eminent powers to be able to fulfill Hashem's intention in having the soul descend into this material world. And just as it is with the soul's descent, so it is with every person in whatever place he may be. I mean, you know, Ashreinu Matov Chalken, we are so fortunate, truly blessed generously by God to live in the generation of the Rebbe. I mean, there's a consistent message from the Rebbe. That is, we can do it. No matter you're going up, you're going down, you're on the right path. Because if you went down, that means you're creating a momentum to go up. It's like compressing a spring. So when it's finally released, it has much more energy than it was when it was just slightly compressed. And if you're going up, the Rebbe gives you that booster. It's not enough to get off the immediate pull of gravity on Earth. But even if you're flying, you're really flying. I mean, you're in outer space. You're praying. You're studying. You're giving charity. You're righteous. You have good thoughts. You have a good heart. Everyone loves you. You love everyone. And then the Rebbe says, "Oh, that's great. That's great. If you're successful, you should be more successful." How come I can't coast? No, you need another booster. Well, when does it end? The answer is never, but there is a practical end game. The end game is when Mashiach will come, then we will know that we have fulfilled our destiny and our potential. So, I mean, it's so beautiful because it's not a cop-out to say the truth, which is a person is affected by where he lives and by his upbringing. And again, if no one's wearing yarmulkes outside, it's very difficult to put on a yarmulke. And if no one is shedding a tear by prayer, you're embarrassed, actually embarrassed to be sincere. So the Rebbe says, don't blame the people, blame yourself, because you can make an environment. Just like in the physical world, you don't have to be put in a respected place to get honor. Wherever you are, you will bring honor to that place. Don't blame the place if they're not giving you honor. Maybe you're not worthy of it. Because if you are worthy of it, wherever you go, you will be acknowledged and you will be respected. And again, it's an energy that surrounds you and motivates you. So too it is spiritually. Don't say it's everyone around me that's cold, and that's why I am cold. Don't be Pharaoh, be a Moshe. Okay, anyway, it's really, really beautiful and inspiring and energizing. And I don't, sometimes there's inspiration that lasts like fireworks. It's so beautiful, the different colors, and it's only for a couple of seconds. And then after that, after watching a beautiful fireworks display, the night is as black as it was before. However, inspiration should not be like that. Inspiration should start a fire. Inspiration should start a momentum. I didn't even drink anything today yet of liquor, but I feel like that we could bring together. Okay, L'chaim. Let me read at least 2 lines of the Tanya before we complete for today. And tonight we'll either talk Parsha or Pesach, or if you have your questions, bring them, and I'll try my best to answer them. So we are on page Kuf Gimel. We ended off yesterday with the idea of prayer means not only talking and conversing, but prayer means ad mitzui hanefesh, until you actually, your soul is poured out before Hashem. And God willing, one day I'll try to explain this more with some beautiful stories. But now we should read at least something. So on page Kuf Gimel, the first 2-3 lines. V'yata hapam, and now, hineni Yosef Shenis, the Rebbe, if you recall, is writing this letter to the Hasidim and thanking them for the good news that they're finishing the Talmud, explaining to them that when they do that, they're strengthening their faith in God, and their faith in God will lead them to having an emotional attachment to God. So that's what he says, your head and your hands will be strengthened by having a strong midsection. But most of all, the time to strengthen this emotional connection to God is through the prayer and the level of pouring out of your soul. So now he continues, and now, Hineni Yosef Shenis, I want to add a second time. I have an additional request. Kfula, it's doubled. I mean, I'm spreading it. In other words, I'm saying, in addition to what I said, I want to double and redouble my request. Those that are close to me, those that are distant, whether it be physically or spiritually, let them accept upon themselves that during the weekday that those that lead the service should not be people that have to go to work, which means that they don't have time. Only those that do have time. Let's say they're a teacher, or maybe they're like people that are being supported by their in-laws or by their father, that they could extend the prayers of the morning at least the 1.5 hours during the weekday. And from this group of people should be those that descend and to be the chazan, to lead the service, either should be through the lottery system, or those that want. In other words, those that are the people that are chosen by the majority. Okay, we'll stop with this. I'll repeat it. But the Rebbe is saying, because the time of prayer is such an opportune time and such an important time, we actually, by inviting someone who's under the pressure of time to lead the service, we're ruining the opportunity. Because he has to leave in a half hour. And because he has to leave in a half hour, he's under a lot of pressure. So he's going to say the prayers quickly. And as a result, there's just simply no time to say the words and meditate on them. So the Rebbe is saying there is a group of people that are not under the pressures of time. These are the people that teach like private tutors in the house. Some of them are studying what they call in kollel, they're studying and they're being supported by in-laws. So they're not in a pressure to finish at a certain time. They have to study or they have to teach, but it doesn't have to start and end at a moment, 9:02. So they're the ones that should lead the service. And what they should do is surround themselves, instead of having people around the chazan urging him and nudging him, no, quick. Let him surround himself with people of similar disposition. So he's davening slowly, he's davening earnestly, and the people around him are doing the same. How long should the morning prayer last? 1.5 hours, 90 minutes. Now, this is the Alter Rebbe. I have to tell you that this has been done by many individuals, but to the best of my knowledge, including 770, it's never been done. So exactly how to reconcile 1.5 hours with a 45-minute is not that difficult. Maybe the 1.5 hours includes the hour of study of Hasidus. I don't know. Maybe that's it. What's more important is not you have to daven at least 90 minutes in the morning. What's more important is what he's trying to convey. That being pressured to finish a prayer within a really condensed amount of time is not helpful to a community. Now, it's very possible. I mean, not only possible, it is practical. Today we have a minyan. Every shul tries to accommodate the people. So some shuls actually do a half-hour service. I'm proud to say by us it took a little bit longer, maybe 50 or 45 minutes. Also not an hour and a half, but at least, I thought we davened a little bit slower. And of course, in some Hasidic shuls, maybe they daven over an hour every morning. Shabbat is much longer, of course. But even the Shabbat service, if you remember, it's around an hour. So it's not so much the minutes, it's more the concept. So you don't want to daven in the morning, pray in the morning to get it over at a certain time. It's almost like, you're schmoozing with your friends and it's a 15-minute coffee break. And you didn't get a chance to drink your coffee because you're schmoozing. And then you say, oh my gosh, I only have 2 minutes. I got to gulp down the coffee and the Danish, And then the coffee gives you acid reflux and the Danish doesn't taste as good. You almost choke over. You want to budget yourself so you can enjoy what the coffee break, including talking, but it's not only including talking, whatever it is. I just threw that out as an example. We don't want to go to shul at 7 o'clock to leave at 7:30, and it doesn't make a difference, rain or shine. Our thing is we want to go to shul so we could, as a community and as an individual, we could connect to our Creator. It happens to be, for most of us, we need a half hour, so we'll try to do it in a half hour. On a holiday or on a day off, Thanksgiving, whatever it is, let's, by all means, make it a little bit longer, because there is no, So that's what the Rebbe is trying to tell us. And as I mentioned already, as we started this Iggeret Hakodesh, I mentioned this is till today a distinction between what they call the yeshiva world, primarily those that come from Lithuania, from a snagate background, from an opposition to the Hasidic movement background. Today, there are no true opponents to Hasidim. And I pointed this out, and I'll say it again because I think it's worthwhile repeating. There was a time when there was like an iron wall between the Hasidic world and the non-Hasidic world. Today, there is no, if there is a wall, it's a lattice. In other words, there's a wall, there's a separation, but there are so many holes, you could see each other, hear each other, even stick in your fingers and touch the other guy. I mean, it's not really a separation at all. But when it comes to prayer, there's still a residue that in the Hasidic world, prayer is encouraged to be more, in a way, spontaneous, more earnest, more sincere, and perhaps more joyous. And that's something that the Rebbe feels is still very important, of course, to the Hasidic world, because prayer is not only requesting or not only praising, it is therapy between us and Hashem. It's a time to connect. Okay, I want to wish you a good, happy day. I know it's supposed to rain, but the sun is shining somewhere. You can have a warm, illuminated day. And once again, those that have participated in our campaign, I thank you. Those that didn't, there's still plenty of time until Pesach. Okay, shalom, everyone. I'll see you, God willing, tonight at